Welcome to PMI Technical Experts Microsoft Office 365 training. This module will be bringing together all the different video modules we've done for email training. So let's dive right in. The objectives of this course are to cover how to access Microsoft both through the web and through the desktop, how to compose an email, how to schedule a meeting, how to look up a contact and create a contact, how to set up a rule, how to search for an email, how to share your calendar, and then how to get missing email or determine if it is actually missing. So let's dive right in. So to access Outlook, there's of course the desktop application that most of us are familiar with, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. And through the web, you can go to portal.office.com, which is the kind of homepage for Office 365. If you sign in there, you'll have access to all the apps that you are licensed to use through Office 365. If you want to skip that site, you can go to outlook.office.com, which will take you right to your email. So we'll jump right in and go with a video explainer on that. Hello and welcome to this training module on accessing Microsoft Outlook. We will be showing a couple different ways of accessing Outlook through the web as well as Outlook the client. So we will begin with the websites that you will want to use. The one that I would like you to remember the most is portal.office.com. This is kind of the home page for Office 365. And when it opens, it will ask you to sign in. And if you've signed in on the PC before, it will at least pull your user information in, and it'll ask you to pick account. I will pick my account. And because I've signed in, it didn't prompt me for a password. You may be prompted for a password, and if it's a PC you have not used recently or you're using it in a different location, there's also the chance that you will get prompted for a multi-factor authentication. Microsoft would recommend that you use Microsoft Authenticator. However, you can also use Duo or Okta, depending on what your organization is set up for your MFA access. As you can see, this is kind of the landing page for Microsoft 365, as I previously mentioned, and I can see that Outlook is right here on the left-hand side, and I can click on that, and that will bring up my email box in just a second. And as this is opening, you can probably guess what the other URL that I'm going to tell you to use is going to be outlook.office.com. And I can open an incognito window, which is what I'm going to do here, just so you can see that as well. I'm going to go new incognito window, which is basically just a private browser session. Alright, and my incognito window is open, so I can do outlook.office.com and hit enter, and it will take me to a sign-in page. I will put in my email address again. Hit enter, and then I'm going to put my password, and this time I'm being prompted for my MFA access, and I will say approve my request on my Authenticator app, which is going to go to my cell phone, and I'm going to approve that login. And you can use yes or no here. I usually do no because I sign in with different accounts oftentimes. so I don't save that information. Plus, this is an incognito window, so yes or no really doesn't make any difference here. And again, if we give it some time, this window should look pretty similar to this window right here. And it's still loading. And here we see my email again. So those are the two ways that you can go and access Outlook through the web. You will see along the side you can bring up your calendar, your contacts, which is people. If you're a member of any groups, you can look at that. You can automatically go into like your OneDrive files, your to-do list. You've got Yammer on the side, bookings, and different apps that you may have already added to your Office 365 tenant. Here is my calendar. And you will notice that it functions pretty similarly to the desktop version of Outlook. So let's start off with the desktop version of Outlook. Currently, there are two versions. There is one that is in pre-release right now. I do recommend that you stick with the full release candidate. And I'll click Outlook, and you'll see it start to come up. Mine may perform a little bit differently than yours because mine has multiple mail profiles, and I need to select which profile I want to open at any given time. I've selected that profile, and it is loading. And here I have my desktop version of Outlook open. Again, I can browse down into Calendar, my People section or Contacts, my To-Do list or Task list. This is Tasks, this is To-Dos, and I can also add additional apps if I so choose. But for the purpose of this video, this is just how to access Microsoft Outlook through the web and through the desktop client. I thank you for your time today. All right, and now let's see how to compose an email. Welcome to this training module brought to you by Piedmont Technical Experts on how to compose an email using Microsoft Office 365 Outlook Online, as well as your desktop Outlook application. So I've already got my Microsoft Outlook open. If you need instruction on that, I would refer you back to an earlier training video we did on how to access Outlook Online. But we can simply come up here and click on New Mail, and it will bring up a box here in just a second. And here is the box. It's got my signature already filled in, and I can just type in an address on who I want to send to. In this particular instance, I'm going to send to my personal Gmail account. As you send emails out, you will build what is called a recent address list. This is not part of your contact list. This is not part of your address book. This is just Outlook remembering addresses that you have sent to. It will refresh on occasion, and that means the oldest entries will eventually be removed. So you don't want to rely on this as your address book. If you send to someone frequently, but you may not want to remember their email address, you will want to add them as a contact in your address list. And just as good email etiquette, always put in a subject. This is a test email. And this is a test. Then you can type, if you want to attach a file, you can do that as well, but we will just hit send here. And that mail has been sent. And now let's do one with an attachment. So I click new email again, brings up my box here. And if I wanted to do insert, and I can do attach a file. And what is actually quite nice is that Microsoft will suggest files that you may want to attach, which will be the most common or most recent open files or files that you have worked on. This could be scanned documents if they were on your PC and you were using the desktop application, but from a 365 standpoint, it knows about the documents that you worked with in your OneDrive and SharePoint and will suggest those. So in this particular instance, I will attach a PowerPoint presentation. Again, I'm going to send to myself, and I will give this a subject, test with attachment. And this time, the other thing that I would point out about email is do watch your capitalizations and your bold. Both of those can be construed as shouting in an email. So I always recommend people use that sparingly. So this is a text. And I will hit send, and that message is now sent. Now let's say I wanted to do this from my Microsoft Outlook. I will minimize this screen and I will bring up my Microsoft Outlook. Buttons are still the same. We hit new email. We can type in email address and test from app. Send, and I can do a new email. This will be a little bit different again. JH, select my and I can come up here and hit the little paperclip, and now it's going to show me all the things that I've worked on off my PC. So before I was seeing the documents that I worked on within 365. However, I now also see files that I have recently moved around on my PC, whether it is a picture or untitled MP4 videos, things of that nature. I will just attach my picture, and then I will hit send, and then it will go. And that is the basic way that you send an email using Microsoft Outlook Online as well as Microsoft Outlook, the desktop application. I hope you found this video informative and look forward to seeing you back on other videos. Alright, and now let's look at how to create a calendar event and meeting. Hello and welcome to this training module on Microsoft Outlook from Piedmont Technical Experts. In this particular module, we will be going over how to create an appointment and a meeting through both Microsoft Outlook and Outlook Online. So we've already got our Microsoft Outlook Online window open, so we'll start there. By default, the current day is always going to be highlighted in blue. It's also going to be, if I click over here to a different week, you've got the date in the blue square, but I can advance weeks or days depending on my view. Right now I've got a work week defined as 7 days, but if I just wanted to do a rolling week, I could do this option, which is going to adjust each day. The current day will be in the first window, but it will give me a rolling week. If I want to look at a month, I can do that. Or if I want to look at an individual day, I can do that as well. For myself, I like looking at the week as a whole, so I keep my calendar view at the work week. To schedule an event, it's very simple. You just click on the calendar, drag your mouse, and highlight the time that you want to block off, test event, and hit save. This is going to be an event. It is not going to be a meeting. Why is it not a meeting? It's because there are no people invited to this, so it's just going to be on my calendar. However, if I go back in and I hit edit, I can do more options here, and it will open up a little bit bigger box, and now I have the invite attendees button, and I can invite myself, which is my Gmail address here. And now this has gone from event to a meeting, and it even says meeting right here in the address or in the title bar. Why is it a meeting? Because there's more than one person. When you do more than one person, you're probably also going to want to put in a location, and you'll by default have the Teams meeting option already selected. What does this mean? This means when you hit send, the event will actually go ahead when it makes the meeting. And now it's got the join button for Teams. And now when I do edit, I actually see all the meeting information for the Microsoft Teams meeting, including dial-in audio if you have that licensing, as well as who's been invited. And I'll just say cancel. Oh, discard. Cancel will cancel the meeting. I'll just X the corner and do OK for not saving the changes. If I needed to change this appointment, I can double click on it, and I can do edit. And let's say I just needed to change this to 11 to 12, and then I hit send so that the invite gets resent to my attendee so that they can update their calendar. Let's say something comes up and you have to cancel. I'm going to double click again. I'm going to just hit the cancel button, and then I'm going to say send. You may want to put in a message on why you're canceling the meeting, but that is how you cancel a meeting through the online version. The other way that you can delete something is click on it and hit the delete key, or come over here and just hit delete here, and then that has been removed from my calendar. All right, so I will now bring up my Microsoft Outlook application, and you just saw my calendar update from the online calendar to remove that appointment. So let's put a test appointment in. Again, I kind of click and drag and select the time window that I want. Test event. And then I can double click on it to open it up. And from here, I can either do invite attendees, which by default will make this a Teams meeting. And as you can see, it pre-populated all the Teams information. If I don't want to make this a virtual meeting, I can say don't host online, and it removes the Teams information, but it still lets me put in my invitees, and I will change this from test event to test meeting, and I will invite myself, and then I will hit send, and send anyway, Again, when you do a meeting, it does want you to put in a location. All right. Let's say I change my mind and I don't want this to be an in-person meeting, but I want it to be a Teams meeting. That's not a problem. I open this up. I hit Teams meeting, and it's going to repopulate all the Teams information. And then I'm going to be able to hit send update. And then that update goes to the people that I've invited. And then they will have the virtual meeting information. Now, the other thing that you can potentially do is, let's say you wanted to invite someone else to this meeting, and this would also apply to the online version as well. And let's say this person is an optional. You come down to optional and you just type in another address, and I'm inviting, again, myself from another email address, and I do send update. And you get this option where you can say send updates only to added or deleted attendees, or send updates to all attendees. If you're going to be adding and subtracting members from a meeting, I recommend using this first option that only sends the updates to added or deleted attendees. Only if you're making a change that is global, that will impact all the users, like changing the time, I wouldn't recommend sending updates to all attendees. All right, and I'll click OK. And then that invite goes out to just the one person that I added. All right? And then, again, deleting, very similar. I can right-click, and I can do cancel meeting. That's fine. I can also just click on the meeting once here and select it and hit the delete key. It will automatically bring up the cancellation, and I can do send cancellation. If you cancel a meeting, it is always recommended that you send the cancellation email because that will remove the calendar appointment from your attendee's calendar as well, and it's just good email etiquette to do that. All right, and that is how you create a calendar event and a meeting using both the Microsoft Outlook application as well as the online version of Microsoft Outlook. I hope you have a great day. All right, and now we will cover how to work with contacts. Hello and welcome to Piedmont Technical Experts Training on Office 365. This module is specifically geared around working with contacts within Outlook Online and within the Outlook application on your desktop. We will begin working with Outlook Online. I have currently signed in to my Microsoft 365 account and have signed into Outlook. To get to your contact list, you come over here and click on People. And your address list will open up here. I'm going to do New Contact to create a contact. So the more information you fill out, and I'm only doing this so that I can see a difference between the contacts that I create. To be able to send an email, you obviously have to put in an email address, but if you have a soft phone application, you can add a phone number or mobile phone, and you can actually dial them from your Outlook client because it will call your soft phone application. So I will put in my Gmail account here. It automatically populated some of this other information, and I can put in this as a test note, and then hit save, and the contact is successfully created, and now I have Jonathan H. Beck, and I have the option to call their mobile phone, talk with them via email, or potentially even do a chat or SMS message. So, if I want to send this person an email, I just click on the mail icon. It will bring up a new email message geared straight for that person, and I do test, and then I hit send and send the email message. If I needed to delete this contact, I just have to come up here to the top and delete this contact. And it will ask me if I want to confirm that I want to delete that, and I say yes. If I am in my mail and I want to send an email to someone that is in my contact list, I hit new email. It opens up the mailbox. I can click on this to box right here, and it's going to bring up my contacts by default. The other thing that you'll want to take note of is the default global address list. That is the address list for your tenant and all the global contacts that have been added by your IT team, as well as your all your Office 365 users. But we're specifically looking at your personal email list here. So I'm going to scroll down, and I found the account that I want to use, and I hit the plus sign, and now I've added my Hotmail account to as the recipient of this message, and I can do test and hit send, and then that message goes out. And that's how you can work with contacts within Office 365. The process for Outlook is very similar, and we'll go over that in just a second. There is one more thing that I would like to show you. You can do this drop-down arrow next to New Contact, and you can do New Contact List or New Group. All right, if we do Contact List, that is going to be a new address list within this list, so I'm going to discard that. But if I do New Group, that is the new name for distribution list. So basically what you want to do is create the group and say test. And it'll give it an email address, and I can do create, or actually I will do edit. Private, only approved members see what's inside, and you can do create. And you pick people who you want to be in the group. And now anybody who gets an email from Test1 at Piedmont Technical Experts who's a member of that group will receive that email message. All right, and now we'll minimize that and bounce over to our Microsoft Outlook screen. And again, you'll go to People, and we can do New Contact here. And let me drag up the window. And this is probably a screen that if you've used Outlook in the past, you're pretty familiar with. You type in their full name. You type in their company. Give them an email address. And in this case, I'm just creating a contact with my work email. I can fill out all this information if I like. I can do save and close. And I can do update. And I can click on this contact and it fills in. It has merged all the contacts I've created up to this point and it has merged them together. That is the difference between the web version and the full version of Outlook. It will actually look for duplicates and try to combine them if you've got them. All right, and here you get the same kind of options here. You can go from new contact, and you can do contact group, which would be the equivalent of a distribution list. So you give it a name. And you can click members. and do add member from Outlook contacts, from address book, or new email contact. If I do new email contact, basically it's going to bring up this little box, and I can do SMTP is going to be by default, and again, it's fine. Outlook is smart enough to find this, so I will add that. I can do add members from Outlook contacts, and I'll just grab a group and do members and do OK. And now if I send something to test distribution list, all these people will receive that email message. And I can say yes to save that. And if I scroll down in the list, I will see test distribution list. And if I want to delete that test distribution list, I can just come up here and hit delete. Same with like this test contact group. I can do delete, and that's going to delete that group. And that is pretty much how you work with contacts in Office 365, both from the web app as well as from the desktop application. I hope you found this video informative, and I look forward to seeing you view other training videos from Piedmont Technical Experts, where we keep you running. And now we'll go over how to set up a rule. Hello and welcome to Piedmont Technical Experts Office 365 training program. This particular module will walk you through how to set up a Microsoft rule or alert using the Microsoft Outlook application. You can create rules through the web portal. It is a very similar process, but just for the sake of speed and efficiency, I do recommend that you do it through the Outlook application whenever possible. Okay, so I have my Microsoft Outlook open, and I'm going to click on File, and I'm going to look at Rules and Alerts. But before I do that, there is some good information here. First, automatic replies. So if you're going out on vacation or you're going to be away from your email, it's good to be able to set automatic replies. Again, as far as tools go, you can see that your current usage of your mailbox is how much free and used. Depending on the plan size that you have, your mailbox will either be 50 gigs or 100 gigs in storage size. If there are specific add-ons and things like that, you would manage them here and here. But let's go into Manage Rules and Alerts. As you can see, I already have quite a few rules created. So I'm going to create a new rule. And I'm going to do so from a blank rule. So the first thing is I want to move messages from someone to a folder. And I do next. From specific people or group. And I just click down here, and if that person's name isn't in my address book, I can just type in this person's email address, so js@ace-hti.com, and I do OK. So if the person, js@ace-hti.com, sends me an email message, I want to move it to a specific folder. And what I will do is I will expand the vendors folder because he is a vendor of ours, and I do new. And it's going to create that folder underneath vendors. And I'm just going to call this ACE-HTI. And that is selected, and I click OK. And I do next. And by default, these are going to add in additional steps. Typically, when you process a rule and something is true, you want to stop processing additional rules. So I do next. If you want to define any exceptions, you can certainly do that as well and do next. And I want to also run this on messages already in the inbox, and I hit finish. And right now it's scanning my inbox for any emails from js@ace-hti.com. And now that that is finished processing, let's create another rule. Another popular rule is if you do lots of email communications with a particular company that all has the same domain name, maybe you want to move all the emails from ace-hti to a new folder. So let's do a new rule again. And we'll, again, just kind of leave this default, but we're going to make some changes here. Instead of from people or public group, we're going to uncheck that. And we're going to scroll down, and we're going to look for specific words in the sender's address. I'm going to put in a text string here, so I'm going to do @ace-hti.com and add and OK. So this rule is going to apply when the message arrives where @ace-hti.com is in the sender's address. And I want to move it to a specified folder, and I'm going to do ace-hti, and I'm going to do OK. And again, we're going to stop processing more rules. When that rule runs, we're not going to find any exceptions, but we could do that as well. And again, I'm going to turn this for messages already in the inbox, and I'm going to hit finish. And it will process that rule and start moving anyone else from this company into that folder. All right, now that that rule is finished processing, we're going to click OK. And now we can go back to our email. And now that we're back in our email, I can scroll down through my folder list, which you can see I have quite a bit of folders here. And I already have one unread message in this folder. And I click on it, and now here is all the messages that I've traded with Jay Stone and his team over at ACE-HTI. And that's how you work with rules. I hope you've enjoyed this video and look forward to seeing you at others. All right, and our next topic will be how to search your email. And welcome to Piedmont Technical Experts Office 365 training modules. Today we're going to be talking about how to search your Outlook for a specific email message. All right, we will be covering this both through the online version of Outlook as well as the desktop application. Currently we have our web-based version of Outlook opened up, so we'll start there. So for the sake of searching, we're going to search for Jay Stone. So you just literally click in the search box up at the top, and you type in the word Jay Stone, and then it's going to start giving you some different options. So if you want to search for messages from Jay Stone, you can certainly do that. If you want to search for mail based on a recently sent email, you can do that. Or if you want to return all searches on Jay Stone, you can also do that. So this would include this particular search where I just search for the word Jay Stone. Basically, is going to include every single email message that has JStone in the to column, the from column, or in the body of the message. If I wanted to say just search for messages from JStone, I can do that as well, and it will search and then return all the messages that JStone has sent me. And if you look over here, it's going to tell you what folder that this message is living in. So there's a folder in my list that's called ACE-HTI, which happens to be the name of his company. So that's how search works from within the Microsoft Outlook web application. So I'm just going to minimize this. And we have a similar search bar at the top of the screen here, and I will type in J again. And again, I have the option to do a broad search for all things JStone, or I can do specific messages from JStone. So I'm going to do from JStone, and again, I'm getting similar results where I get all the messages that he sent as well as the folder in which that message lives in. The other piece of the search is when you're done searching, you don't just click the X here because this is just removing some of the search criteria. It's still an active search, so I can then hit the X on this side, which then takes me back to my inbox. Similar process is there for Outlook Online as well. I hope you found this short video informative and look forward to seeing you at future training modules. And moving right along, quick instructional video on how to share your calendar. Hello and welcome to Piedmont Technical Experts Office 365 training module on how to share your calendar. Unlike some of the other videos, we'll be doing this strictly through the Microsoft Outlook app just because it's a little bit easier, and I recommend that you do the sharing of calendars through the actual full version of Microsoft Outlook. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll click on the calendar icon. And we will scroll up to the top here, and here's my calendar, and I can right click on it, and I can do sharing permissions. And by default, you can click add, and you can do someone within your organization, anyone that you've got a contact for, as far as global address list goes, is going to show on the box, or if you just want to do jhback7@gmail.com. If external sharing is enabled for your organization, you can absolutely just add a user like this. And then you select their permission levels. You can say can view all details, which means they will be able to see the calendar as it sits on this screen. Including drilling down into the individual appointments and seeing the notes within them. You can limit them to being able to view titles and locations, which basically is going to be the just this screen that we're looking at right here, or you can say they can view when I'm busy, which is basically just going to show them that you have time blocked off on your calendar. Any of these options will work. It will really depend on what you're looking to achieve for which permission is going to be right for your specific situation. You can always consult your IT support or give us a call at Piedmont Technical Experts, and we can help discuss calendar permissions with you at any time. When you're done, you just click OK, and I have successfully shared my calendar out. Have a good day. All right, and for our final slide and video, we will be covering how to find missing emails and do a little bit of troubleshooting with this last video. This is Jonathan Beck with Piedmont Technical Experts, and this is our Outlook training module on how to find missing emails. So the first thing that I would encourage people to do if they think they're missing emails, especially following a migration, is to start off with a search. It is possible that that message was delivered and it just went to a different folder than you were expecting. This is very common with migrations from Google to Microsoft because in Google, everything technically gets delivered to the inbox and then it's categorized. In Outlook, they actually use a folder structure to organize emails, so there's not necessarily the same categories that you would have in Outlook that you do with your Gmail accounts. So we would begin with a basic search. So in another video that we did, we showed how to do a search. And again, I'm just going to use JStone, and this returns all messages from JStone to JStone, or contains JStone in the body of the email message or in the subject line. I can look this way for the missing message, but let's say I don't see it. Well, then I want to go back to whatever my original email system was, if this is post-migration, and look for the message there and see if the message is actually in that environment. If it is, you do have the ability to hit forward and forward that message to yourself. That would be a quick, easy way to do it. However, that will come in with a new date and time stamp if you do the forward. Additionally, if this is post-migration, I would check with the individuals who handled your migration to see if there's a way they can run a resync on your mailbox to bring in any new messages leading up to the go live. All right, and that's pretty much how you would find missing emails. You would, number one, look to see if it was in your email box through a search. Number two, you would look in your old mailbox to see if the message was there and potentially forward it to yourself. And the third option would be to ask the people who handled your mail migration to do a resync for your mailbox. Another thing that a lot of people will run into post-migration is they will get these NDRs, these non-deliverable reports. So right here is a non-deliverable report. Basically, it says Yvette Markville was not found at Ring Central. This could be because Yvette left the company, which actually was the case in this particular instance. But it could also be because of a bad cached email address. If that's the case, then all you have to do is when you do a new mail message, wrong button, new email message here, and let me drag this over. If I start typing Yvette, this is bringing up my recently used address list. Sometimes this can be corrupted. So if it does, what you want to do is actually delete that out. Now I'm going to have to type in Yvette.Markville at ringcentral.com, and now, and now I can do test and test. And it resolves to potentially a valid email address. But in this particular instance, I know that Yvette is left, so I would still get an NDR if I hit send. But that is one way you can handle that. Another item that sometimes people will run into is they will say that the domain was not found as the message inside the NDR. If that's the case, typically both of these are because either the domain was misspelled or the person's email was misspelled, or you have a corrupt autocomplete, in which case I just showed you how to fix that. And we appreciate your time today and hope you found this video informative. And we thank you for your time today, and remember to like and follow our videos at our YouTube channel. Just search for Piedmont Technical Experts, where we keep you running.